Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of the Seercast. I am Knight, or in-game I am Kerrigan, and with me today is Thorlah.
Hello.
Orange.
Hello.
Kitten.
Hello.
Geena.
This one's for the mini corral.
Lime.
Captain, our Zaraz has been hit by an iceberg.
Captain, please.
Captain.
And Walter and Habblet are inhabiting the chat. So today we have a lot to cover. Runefest was earlier today. That is not some of the stuff that we are covering. We're going to mention that we're going to have another podcast specifically on Runefest reveals, Runefest, anything regarding Runefest. Really, we have a lot to go over, a lot to cover. That cannot fit in this one.
Yeah, Unfortunately, I don't believe penguins are one of the things that they covered.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that.
Noob J mods,
silly J mods. Mod Raven, why you no add penguins? But yeah, so we're gonna be covering that stuff next time because we didn't have time to. We're not gonna have time today. But yeah, so before we get started, follow us on Twitter. We are at Seercast. Subscribe on YouTube. The link should be on the video. Tell your friends about us. We would like to get known, and we would like to serve a larger community than Lime refreshing the video 35 times.
Jesus.
Sorry, Lime.
I will neither confirm nor deny that.
See?
Oh boy.
But yeah, so I think that that pretty much covers that. We're going to go ahead and get started on a couple things that Mod Jack, as usual, our beginning statement, I guess, is stuff that Jack has said to us in the last...
Yeah.
He said something again.
Yeah.
Basically.
Apparently Lime is doing a bit of concept art that you'll eventually see, but one of the features of it is Habblet's running into the room screaming, yelling, Mod Jack said something else! But yeah, so we really like Mod Jack, and he has in fact mentioned us on official Above the Lore podcast. So represent.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mod Jack.
God damn it!
Oh. No.
But yeah, so some of the silly things that he said is that they might add the ability for J-mods to ride on players.
Hey, well, now we finally get mounts in RuneScape, except we're the mounts.
I had a good laugh at that. He also mentioned that there's apparently concept art of the 200th quest at Runefest. I'm not sure I saw that.
Maybe it's Saren.
Maybe it's just the fact that it's Saren and the Tower of Souls, which we'll talk about next
Tower
time.
of Voice. Yeah, I've got it saved somewhere around here. Tower
of Voices, sorry. Imps are apparently not larval demons. Azni's headdress is relevant to his position during the Zarosian Empire in some way.
Everything.
Huh?
Hats mean everything.
They really do. And the
So
title.
when can I have Dr. Davidic's hat?
That is the good question.
That is the burning question. And the silly title to kill Krill with a fun weapon is Slapsaroth. It's the stupid title and stupid high score he mentioned previously. Thank you, Jack.
Yes. Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Okay. We're gonna cover a little bit of the birthright of the dwarves from the last questions as well. And this is not all. Actually, this is just kind of frequently asked questions that we didn't cover in the last few podcasts. Mahjane says, none of the gods had unlimited power or resources during the God Wars. Protecting the Mkando dwarves, who are few in number, took a lot of effort for Saradomin, and protecting all dwarves, including ones in a hidden underground city, would have taken much more effort and resources, perhaps more than he had, and certainly more than he could spare. So, yeah.
That makes him seem less self-centered. He really couldn't.
It is one of those things like, gods don't actually have unlimited power. They don't have unlimited power now, either.
Clearly.
So, yeah. And speaking of unlimited power, canonically, the Battle of Lumber took 10 weeks. Yes, Habblet, 2.5 months is in fact 10 weeks. Sorry, I just had to. I saw the no stop, please.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean that's what happens when you're in the chat and I'm the one talking. But yeah, in the original advertised rewards for the Dwarf Quest mentioned explosive gear. John A. couldn't actually think of a good reward that would explode, so he incorporated that into the explosive gears that were used to blow up the cannon. A clever workaround-ish.
Nice move.
Yeah. Unless anybody has anything to say about any of those, we're going to move on to the tree updates. Elder trees require 90 wood cutting to cut, 90 fire making to burn, and 90 fletching to make elder short bows and shield bows. The shield, you can use a shield bow sight on it. With this update, the dark bow was upgraded to be level 70, so that it is still the best shield bow, implying anybody uses shield bows. They also drop dark arrowheads, which are used to make level 70 arrows.
Wait, Walter, we do?
We care about shield bows, but no, not out of DG and not if we are good. Okay,
Yeah.
So, only Habblet uses shield bows.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh. That was low, Lime.
Dang it, Habblet. Dang it, Lime.
Lime, please.
Yeah. Obligatory Lime, please.
We've already had like 4 of them this podcast. I mean, we're on track to have like 30 of them.
I mean, even before we were going off about it.
Yeah. Evil elder trees now apparently give elder logs and require the same levels in wood cutting and fire making as elder trees. So I guess that's kind of sort of a buff, because those used to be level 85 and now they're level 90. After cutting down a tree, it takes about 30 minutes to regrow. I don't think that's right. Walter.
Wait, they changed
I think, as far as I know of, it takes 10 minutes to regrow. 5 minutes to cut, 10 minutes to regrow, because I've cut my fair share of these. Yeah, it takes, you cut it. I love cutting elder trees, because you just click, and then you watch a video for 5 minutes.
Basically.
And then, oh look, it's done, and then you move to a different location, and you click, and you wait. It's not exactly fast experience, it's not great money, who cares? It's literally AFKable. But, there are 10 elder trees in the game, and yeah, so it's a nice update, except for the freaking elder shield bow, elder short bow tasks, daily challenges, because nobody sells those things on the market.
Yeah, they are, like, near worthless at this point.
Yeah. They're extremely difficult to obtain. But yeah. Moving on, we have crystal trees, which require 94 wood cutting to cut. Only one crystal tree is active at a time. Inactive trees point towards the active tree, and active trees last for 2 hours. They give less XP per hour than Arctic Pines and C2 Dungeoneering, which we don't endorse. Teaks may or may not also beat them. They're better than Ivy, which means that they're the best trees that don't require you to move around to drop items. A lot of the things that people use them for is geodes, which are affected by the items you get, and you can get gems up to diamond, crystal seeds, and crystal Triskelion pieces. So those are nice.
Also, did we mention the thing that they're in the Seren shape?
I have not.
Well, they're in the Seren shape, and the missing corner is in Cryptinas.
Yeah, and the Seren shape is a diamond. So if you look at it on the world map, there's 8 trees. There
are 7.
I think there's 7 trees in game, and then the 8th missing tree is right in the heart of Prifdidinus.
We think.
Walter's a little off on this. I guess this is what happens when you lose the entire thread and then have to recreate it in a day. Like, Walter made a Herculean effort to have us this thread, but
props to him.
Yes, so big props, even if there are a couple minor errors that we can just notice on site. They require level 94 because Mod Nexus forgot how to spell Prifdidinus.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Prifdidinus?
The required level was supposed to be A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3 thing, where all the letters were added up to get the required level. The correct level from such a formula would have been level 100, which kind of makes me wonder if he did in fact spell it wrong, or if he just handily omitted a letter.
Well, okay then, he said he did.
Well, actually, I mean, if he misspelled it, and then they got level 94 out of it, then that's, I guess, it's worth mentioning that if he had spelled it, and it would have gotten level 100, he would have made some other way of getting the level, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so, I guess a couple other things we want to mention that have happened since we have last had a chat. Bonus XP tidy up. We can say this happened.
Yeah.
They basically just changed all pendants into so that you don't have to wear them to get the bonus XP, which is nice.
Bank space.
Yeah.
Basically.
Now,
yeah.
it pretty much just, the only thing it means is that we all get 30 more bank spaces.
Yeah.
Just 30?
I got 30. There are only 26 skills, and we didn't have divination pendants when this bonus XP tidy up thing happened. So I don't know where you're getting extra.
Prismatic pendants.
That's what I'm talking about. Lime, please.
Regular.
Okay. Anyway.
Anyways. But yeah, so that happened. Sirenic Armor is also released recently. It is level 90 power range gear, so it is on par with the Tectonic gear, and I think the soon to be released level 90 melee gear that is going to drop from the Super Barrows Brothers thing that we're going to talk about a little bit later.
So this is Power Ranger gear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It requires level 91 and 93 crafting to make the set. Level 91 to 93 crafting. 91 for the mask, 92 for the chaps, 93 for the hauberk. And some of the examines have some interesting lore implications, lore-ish things behind it. Where it mentions Remora from Song from the Depths by name several times, and the general gist of it all is that it uses scales of sirens,
or teeth, talons, or nails from hardier creatures.
Yeah, they're rather rare. And it will apparently become slightly more common in a future update.
It essentially makes you into the Blue Ranger.
Yeah, it really does. It's a cool looking set, not gonna lie. It is a very cool looking set.
Yeah.
And there are so many possibilities for Power Rangers jokes.
Oh dear.
Oh boy, please no.
Yeah, please.
I think we've had enough missing presumed something.
You know I've seen like 5 Power Ranger jokes by now.
Please
Well,
no.
I mean, at least it's a new version of joke and not yet another missing presumed whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
At least it changes things up a little bit.
Missing presumed not funny.
Basically.
Yeah, the scales are insanely rare, and since and that is because you don't have to kill a Chris L super boss to get them as drops. And by super boss, I mean a boss that he made in his lunch break.
Yeah.
But, when does Chris L do anything else?
Lunch break.
Yeah, it's just lunch break.
How does he have time?
Basically, he eats all day long, is what we're getting at.
Yeah.
How does he have
Pretty
time
much.
to eat lunch?
It is worth mentioning that, in the, at Runefest today, he was doing a segment with,
Those two guys on the
with
couch.
Mod Lee and Regicidal, I think. No, it was, I don't know. The two guys on the couch. I don't know their names.
Yeah.
Guy 1 and Guy 2.
Guy number 1 and guy number 2.
Big one.
Oh, Mod Lee is Regicidal. Okay, well,
Okay.
and Mod Lee and whoever the other guy on the couch was. But
Other guy.
they were mentioning that, or Chris L was mentioning that he hadn't had lunch yet, and that he was doing stuff, so he hadn't eaten, and we're like, oh my god, we're stopping his valuable dev time. Cause his lunch break is when he does everything, it seems.
Yeah.
But yeah, the drops are rather low, and they're dropped only by critters that are weak to ranged. So, the stuff in the, Order of Ascension dungeon, Aqua Knights, Spiritual Mages, and Dark Beasts, with the, Legio being the highest drop rate. And it seems right now it's around 1 in 40 to 1 in 60 from the Legio, and way lower for the others. Like, 1 in several hundred for Dark Beasts, and 1 in 1,000 for Aqua Knights.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yep, and it requires, it's 84 total for the set, I think? Yeah, so it's not an easy set to farm for, but it is farmable, I guess, is worth mentioning.
Yeah.
How does it degrade? It degrades to dust?
Degrades to nothing.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Yeah, just like tectonic or whatever.
Yeah, that really helps to keep the price of these scales up, which actually should make Slayer, some of these critters are, especially Order of Ascension, found their way onto a lot of people's Slayer block lists. And I feel like because of this update, you're gonna see people taking them off.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing to mention. How are we doing on time? Alright, pretty good actually.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, well, I'm actually doing something a little bit new this time. I'm trying to keep it under an hour. I know, shocking, but so we can actually like get to the stuff we want to get to, and then also not take ungodly amounts of time, which people don't have the attention span for.
Yeah, we're finding ways to like rework this.
And even though we're taking ungodly amounts of time explaining that we won't take ungodly amounts of time explaining.
Lime, please. But now is a good time where I can safely say, if you have any suggestions for anything that we can do, if you have criticism, suggestions, suggestions for things we can do better, things we can just cover, things you want to hear more about, etc., please let us know. Send us a tweet, send us a message in game, send it like something. We're very much open to suggestions. We want to get better. We want to make those of you who watch us happier.
Yeah, my biggest thing, just kind of butt in, but I'll be quiet after this. Like, the biggest question I have is, would in-game content, like, would anyone want to actually see, like, us playing RuneScape, us going through the updates while we're talking about them, or something's happening, or should we just stick to specifically podcast format, like, which is more entertaining?
I've actually wondered the same thing, so I'd like to hear what everybody has to say about that, and you should know how to get a hold of us. So, anyways, yeah, thanks for all the support, but we're gonna keep moving forward now. I'm getting back on topic, since now we are about back on track where I was hoping we'd be. There's a couple other changes. Degrade, they changed the way that items degrade, especially with regards to gravestones. This of course implies death, which I wasn't aware that people still died in this game, but apparently they do from PVM.
Yeah.
Theoretically. But yeah, so instead of not degrading, with the exception of Barrows gear, instead of not degrading when it hits your gravestone, it drops the degrade count, whatever you want to call it. It drops by 20%. So your port's armor, if it has 80% when you die, it'll have 60% when you take it out of the gravestone. And all items will be kept inside the gravestone. So it's more of a gravestone update with a little bit of a degrade change there as well. It helps with the gold sink, it helps with not wanting to die, not having any risk of losing your stuff if you die, or losing anything if you die.
Yeah, because that's kind of the number one complaint that I always hear, not even if it's an official thing, but everyone who does a lot of major PVM, the biggest thing they always sort of talk about is just, oh my god, I did not see that on the ground. Why did it just drop? Because it's degradable and now I have trouble getting it back. So.
Yep.
Yeah, and that I do have to ask, does anybody know if things like the Tuckle Zoe, the Dominion Tower gloves, and a couple other quest reward items, I think 6th Stage Ring is the same, but it's not quite the same because it doesn't degrade. But did any of those, are those now in the gravestone as well? Or are they...
Don't know. I can go kill myself with Dominion Tower gloves right now if you want me to.
I wouldn't want to make you go back and kill 5 bosses.
Okay.
So you're fine. I'm just curious if anybody knows that off the top of their head. As I know that you can save them before they hit your gravestone.
Yeah, you can save especially Dominion Tower gloves.
And that's
if you
what I've always
them,
done.
Yeah, the only issue is if you spam click through it, of course they won't be saved, but then you just get 9k in compensation.
Yeah, which,
that's how it was before. I don't know if they changed it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's similar / the same. Not sure. But, so yeah. This, something that I do like about this, and that people didn't really talk about, and I saw a couple people mentioning this, said it makes, Divination's protect item sign much more useful. It also makes the protect item prayer much more useful, especially for people who are hybriding at Calphite King, or at Nex, or at various bosses. Walter says, divination logic. If it isn't good, nerf everything else until it is. God damn it.
Basically.
Well, I mean, we already had the Juju Pots rage a few podcasts ago, so...
Oh boy. I'm kinda over that, but I don't know.
I still would like to see a better use for him, but, whatever. Tectonic and Sirenic armor apparently degrade by 10% on death, so it's not quite as big of a hit, but that's because they degrade to dust. Barrows gear still apparently degrades to nothing because it's an old system. So, GG. But yeah. They also apparently made an ultimate ability update. Has anybody noticed anything?
Honestly, I haven't even been in combat for the past month, because I've been doing everything that isn't combat.
Oh, there you go. Neither have I.
Sunshine lasts a while. That's the only difference I've really noticed, because that's the one I've used.
I've never used Tsunami ever.
I've
ever.
Used that. I noticed a big difference with that one.
And that's the only mage one. The other two, I don't use that style of, either of those styles of combat, so. Whatever. I think that covers those. The Lumpbridge Rebuildathon is happening, and it takes 5 minutes of work for a large XP lamp.
Scary.
And I went in there, wow, this is happening way too fast. How am I picking up these things at such an ungodly rate?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're the World Guardian. You're ready to pick up gigantic plep.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think the worst part is we aren't even doing the building.
Yeah. Well,
at least we're
handing piles of stuff to people, and oh look, a house appeared.
We're doing the thing that
magic.
We're doing the thing that we're good for, because if we can haul around 28 sharks in inventory, I think we're fine on 28 planks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
picking them all up instantly, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
And
We're
Habblet
basically
says Bob the Builder is keeping all the stone and getting the hell out of Longbridge.
Yeah. Oh yes.
We're
Did it?
basically the butlers to all these builders who are getting their construction training.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. That's kind of clever. Did we get that? Did the RuneScape community get that statue made for that they mentioned about RuneFest? I put in my time to get it done.
Me too.
It shows 0%.
I think it's bugged too.
I think it might be bugged. Well then, they're probably just going to give it to us anyway.
Yeah.
I sure hope so.
Sort of like-
I put in time to that.
It's like that Gothic stone, like, oh, we're not gonna make it, let's just change it. So, like,
7 billion people to complete it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be bugged.
Everyone in the world must cooperate to build this tiny little statue.
Yeah. But yeah, quoting Walter in the thread, it is a thing.
Yeah.
There was also a prestige system poll that was, I liked the idea, but I can see why a lot of people didn't, and it failed. Like I would like to talk more about it, but I don't think it's actually really worth talking about at this point. It was just it was an idea proposed by Mod Jack to make pretty much every content in the game, every skilling content truly repeatable, because it gives you the option to reset your levels to 0 when you hit 99.
Yep.
But yeah. So, that's that. Unless anybody really wants to talk about Prestige, in which we can. Yeah, didn't think so.
Was a thing.
Also a cool thing that they were doing is the Well of Goodwill, which is a way to enable the RuneScape community to use their in-game wealth to donate to real-world charities and charitable causes. There's one apparently questionable charity. I don't know. I don't even know. There apparently is. The well will stay open till the 30th. We're not gonna go into that because I have no experience and I'm not in any place to judge.
Fair enough. I'd have to agree on that too.
But yeah, the well will stay open until November 30th, and donated items will be valued at their grand exchange rate and before charity merching clans. I'm merching, but it's for a good cause. Every 10 million GP donated is $1 donated charity. I think were they talking about dollars or pounds?
They use dollar signs in it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, maybe because they're IVP owned, they are donating through American channels?
Don't know. Jagex has a goal of donating 100 grand. Apparently, I heard today that there had been 14 trillion GP sunk into this well. I may be wrong on that, but I think I heard 14 trillion.
Yeah, I think I heard that too.
And a lot of that was, I'm sure, done at Runefest. It seems high, but I could have sworn I heard that. Maybe it was 1.4.
Well, I mean, think about it. If people dropped in party hats, think of how much they would get for them.
Yeah.
Well, like half-full wine jugs and things that actually have the higher price value.
Yeah, Walter's checking at the moment. I heard 14, but it might have been 1.4. It was something 4, and I think it was...
Yeah.
14 does seem a bit high. Apparently, at the time of Walter writing the thread, 122 billion had been donated, and that's over $12,000 donated in just a few days. So, very, very cool thing that the RuneScape community was doing for these charities. The amount of trillions given is too damn high.
Oh dear.
But yeah, you get titles if you donate. Any donation gives you the wishful title. 10 million or higher gives you the generous title, and 1 billion or more gives you the charitable title. And, I mean, that's a lot.
I've actually seen a couple of people with that title.
I mean, if you donated that much, then yeah, you deserve the charitable title.
So there are 140 billion coins that have been donated. So I had the 1 and the 4 right.
Yep.
Over 2,400 bonds have been donated as well. So that's some very cool stuff there. That is pretty awesome. Like, good on you, RuneScape community, showing that you actually aren't entirely worthless. I'm sorry. People complaining on the forums because they can't get all the titles.
Yep.
Yes. Anyways, we're gonna keep moving, unless anybody wants to mention anything else about any of the last few things we've talked about. Nope. Okay. The last podcast, the last Above the Lore podcast, was about Zaros. And while I would love to cover everything in this podcast, one of the main topics at Runefest was also Zaros. So we're going to cover a little bit of this podcast, and then leave the rest for our Runefest discussion, which will feature a lot about Zaros. So, a couple of things I would like to talk about, and maybe there's some other things that somebody else wants to mention. Zaros manipulates. Manipulation does not imply evil. People kind of seem to wrap the two of them up, and it's not necessarily, they don't necessarily go hand in hand. It depends on why you're manipulating and what your definition of evil is, I suppose. I also would like to mention that Zaros knew about Guthix, but Guthix knew nothing about Zaros. Guthix apparently never knew that Zaros existed, which kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he was always asleep whenever he was around or anybody was talking about him. He woke up every time he wasn't there.
Yeah, and I guess Zaros really wasn't on the world for all of that long, was he?
Yeah, the start of the Second Age until the end of it, and then his followers almost all got wiped out by the end of the Third, and that's when Guthix shows up again.
Yeah. I mean, Zaros shows up at the beginning of the Second or at the end of the First? I can't remember which.
I think it's kind of both. It's like he shows up and it starts the Second Age.
Maybe that's the trigger that causes the Second Age. Do we know that for sure, Walter? This is your expertise.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I was thinking that Guthix going to sleep, and then that's when the Second Age just starts or whatever. I don't know if there was like a big trigger.
It isn't, apparently Walter says it isn't 100% clear. Okay, so Guthix going to sleep is the stated one, but it seems like both of these events happened almost concurrently, and we'll be learning more, and we'll discuss this more in the following podcast, in the Runefest podcast, about the origins of Zaros. They mentioned a little bit about it at Runefest, and we're going to hear a lot about it with the upcoming quest, The Fate of the Gods, which is basically Zaros' return.
But we'll talk about that later.
But yeah, we will be talking about that probably, I want to say later this week, but maybe next weekend, because Walter is needing to go through the videos and be awesome for us. But yeah, so there's that. One more thing I specifically want to mention with regards to Zaros is his power. In the podcast, Modjack says specifically he is regaining power right now. He doesn't have a body. The question is how and what and from what.
It goes back to like the what even is Zaros conversation.
Yeah, it kind of does. Like, where is he? What is he? Who is he?
How is he?
Damn it.
Aside from a flying hoodie, what is he?
Yeah, what, yeah.
Yeah, that does kind of go back to, I can't even remember when it was said, but I just remember it was a blurb that I mentioned. I think it was when we were watching some of the streams, but kind of how they were saying, like, for him to return, he needs a body to sort of possess in order to make some kind of appearance. So it's sort of like if he's some type of energy or like a different being. Like it'd be so weird to just be kind of a body that's just energy in itself, and that's it.
Yeah, like he needs a container to manifest these things. Like right now, he's just kind of floating around as energy, and then once he gets a body, he can manipulate it.
Yeah, like he's just a soul without a vessel, and then whenever he finds that vessel, then yay, there.
Yeah, it is a strange thing to think about. Again, we'll talk about this a little bit more with the Runefest one, but Mod Ali mentioned that Tier 2 gods were capable of becoming incorporeal, incorporeal, and that's how Zaros managed to stay alive after being stabbed by Zamorak. It's kind of a defense mechanism. It is worth mentioning, though, that Zaros is not human. He has never been fundamentally human. He is not humanoid, and he has never been mortal. He never ascended, and thus was never immortal. So that's something also that's
a young god who was never immortal.
Huh?
That has some terrifying implications right there.
Wasn't he the young god they were saying was the only one that was never mortal?
I don't know. And
why? I guess now, yeah.
And why is that? What are the terrible implications for that, Lime?
I mean, like, if he's never been mortal, then how is he created? Is he, like, necessary for the universe to exist? Is he predestined to become fate or something?
Well, weren't Aclara and Amiskut both? They were offspring of a god of. I forget which of the gods, but they were
Timikin and Elidinus.
Yeah, they were born as gods, and apparently somebody's being kicked for lore failing.
I have a theory about how they were children, but
they were born tier 6 demigods, but Timikin and Elidinus weren't that powerful to begin with. Like they're only what, tier 4?
Tier 5, I think.
Yeah, I think they Elidinus
is tier. Yeah, Timikin, Elidinus, Marimbo, Braska Prime, and Zamorak after the Battle of Lumbridge are tier 5.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Zamorak?
I'm interested to talk about that, especially that Zamorak position. But that's for next time.
Zamorak really fell that far?
Yes.
Apparently, he was tier 4 before that. But we're going to talk about that in the Runefest.
Went up to 3.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in the Runefest podcast. Habblet says maybe Zaros was created out of energy. There have been a couple pretty wild speculations because it kind of takes some serious thinking outside the box to even wrap your head around what to make of Zaros. But a couple of the interesting ideas is like born out of souls, born out of energy, born out of that kind of thing. Yeah. Zaros, Walter says, Zaros is totally a sentient flying hoodie of void energy.
Clearly.
Yes.
Is that the horse mask? No, it's not. It's okay. It looked the same.
I put together a big, like, all the screen caps, except for stupid tier 3 screen cap.
Yeah, I love how they...
From the live stream.
Never mind. We'll talk about that for the Runefest one. Just throwing out all sorts of teasers of things that I want to talk about, but I'm just going to not now. A couple things made me rage about the live stream. But yeah, so
Wait. So, Orange just said, so possession means someone puts on the hoodie.
Yeah. You just have to trick somebody into putting it on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I promise you, it'll be good.
Hey, you look a bit cold here. I have a spare hoodie you can wear.
Yeah. And they have no idea.
You have to accidentally teleport them to the ice plateau. You have to lure them. You have to lure them with the lore and a hoodie.
Yes.
Oh man. I don't know what Walter's raging about or fake raging about. So it's like a demonic Frosty the Snowman hat.
Kinda, yeah.
Oh, Kitten posted the images.
Crap! Wait. Oh. I don't remember what I posted.
It was the God tears thing, and that'll be up on in the stream in the video. The video, that's what it's called. It's called a video.
Podcast, live stream, video.
It's been a long week.
That has. Oh yeah, it has.
Yeah. But after yesterday, I was done. So yay.
All right, so let's move on.
I believe so, unless anybody wants to mention anything else about Zaraz. We do have a couple more minutes we can spend on him. Although, it might be good to get onto the BTS. Nope. Alright, then anything else that we missed, that we intentionally left out, which was a lot of stuff, and by a lot, I mean a lot. Anything else that we missed, we're gonna go ahead and mention with the Runefest podcast, which will likely come in multiple parts because it's probably going to be exceedingly long. I'm gonna try and structure it such that it'll be easier to navigate. So if you want to just watch something specific, it'll be easy to find. But we'll see how that happens, and that'll be next week, later this week, something like that. But yeah, stay tuned. Before we move on to the BTS, I want to mention a couple things from Twitter and the forums. Something that I specifically conversed with Timbo about, with Mod Timbo, is after he posted that apparently the average of all the prices on the GE is almost 6 million. Like, the average price of just a random GE item is 6 million. But then if you take out all of the discontinued rares, it's still 2.2 mil. And that's including all of the cheap crap, like needles, and feathers, and oranges. Orange, please.
Orange.
And limes.
Woo!
K lime. But yeah, so that's just something that, being a math dork, I find interesting. Yay, stats. A couple more things. John A. will be adding a bit of dialogue to Zanuck now that we've seen Bandos. Mod Ollie is looking into changing the dialogue with the Guardians of Armadillo so we don't tell them that we think a dragonkin took the staff long after we know in fact where it is.
Yeah.
Runefest was cool. I don't care about old school RuneScape. The thing about Missing Presumed Death with the Ring of Visibility. Mod Osborne on Twitter said, it's interesting that nobody has played Missing Presumed Death with the Ring of Visibility.
I did it.
I have been reliably informed that the visibility, but Robo and Gina and I'm sure several other scryers did it actually, and then Osborne said, "Whoops. I have been reliably informed that the Ring of Visibility didn't get into the final update." Dope! And it would have been...
Yep.
He says, quote unquote, it would have been Zaros, by the way. Trollface. And Ollie goes back and mentions that, no, it would have in fact been Soren. And then Jack chimes in, of course, with mind blown. Because Jack is a troll.
Jack is everywhere. Praise
Jack is everywhere.
Praise be to Jack.
A couple more things. Osborne mentions that the Crown Archival can find a planet with Elder artifacts on it, cannot find where the artifacts are on the planet. On the Fates of the Gods, some gods will feature in a quote-unquote popularity concept, but not all. Your gods will be different from others. So apparently the gods that are alive may differ from person to person? Question mark?
And they're all good, and all the ones who are different are going to turn to Zeal.
Oh dear. No, please. Walter says yes, and more on that in the Runefest coverage. Okay. And Habblet says humph. The next podcast, the next Above the Lore, will be about Zamorak, so we'll have lots to talk about there. And they were going to offer a way for people to support the Pantheon, Marimbo, Gothics, etc. in before Lime.
Don't forget Brassica.
Okay.
GTFO.
Already forgotten.
Anyways, since nobody cares about Lime, writing down, edit Lime out.
Hey-o! Can't stand for the win.
That's what I was waiting for. Noob. But yeah, so we're going to move on into the November BTS. Not a particularly full month, I want to say, but considering they just did Runefest, I'm not complaining. I think it's worth mentioning that there's a lot of effort that went into the Runefest, far more than we could ever even imagine. So, yeah, I think we're going to give them a break here for what may or may not be on this BTS. What even? Okay, but the first thing to mention is the D&D tracker and some improvements. The D&D tracker is just basically gonna be a place in game for you to be able to keep track of your D&Ds. Shocking, I know.
As if it wasn't already expected out of all of the other MMOs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that it isn't already there, but
now it will be.
Yeah, now it will be. Especially like familiarization, I could never, when I was training summoning, I could absolutely never nail down when familiarization was active. I couldn't tell whether it was a rolling weekly, if it was a starting on Wednesday weekly, if it was...
Isn't it like Monday?
I could never tell. I think it was rolling weekly, but I'm not sure. And that made it really annoying. But, yeah. So, and apparently you'll get, bonus tokens for D&Ds that I don't think most of us even play.
You're saying this, but I'm doing Tears of Graphics right now.
Traitor! God
How
damn
dare
it,
you go
Ron.
against us?
But yeah, and then there's apparently a quote-unquote bucket of improvements. That's just a bunch of little things. I'll just read down this list.
Bucket quest confirmed.
God damn it. The ability to clear any slot through cosmetic overrides, so in a manner similar to hide helmet and hide cape options. I think I've seen that asked on the forums for ever. Ever since they did that, they started using those overrides. The ability to add notes to individuals listed on your friends and ignore lists. I've been wanting that. Apparently new login animation, whatever. Graphical improvements to emotes, whatever. New achievements for your adventurer's log, okay.
Sure.
A new quote unquote beam of light animation when you get a drop over 1 million. As someone that checks every drop pile, it won't be very useful to Walter, but it'll be nice for certain groups of players. And it'll be...
Saying,
huh?
Sorry, I'm like, I don't suppose it will give me a beam of light when I get a strange token.
Probably not. Although you could probably go and talk to, whoever is developing this, and I wouldn't be surprised if that gets added in.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually a really good suggestion. I never even thought about that. Like, I'd get somebody to tweet at whoever's making this update and bother them about it, because those miscellaneous journals and those warped miscellaneous journals are way rarer
Ridiculous.
than any rare drop in the game.
And they hide at the bottom of the drop pile in free-to-play colors.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, finally get people to realize that they got a journal drop. Plus, it's just kind of cool to recognize that, and it'd be nice for them to not be neglected. And yes, Walter, champion scrolls, please.
Yeah, champion scrolls, Champion scrolls are more common. And Walter actually mentions that explicitly in the thread. But yeah, so that'll be useful for if anybody's a PVMer and they're using like free-for-all kind of stuff, or like for any kind of, if you're free-for-alling but you're sharing, there's no way there shouldn't be. I don't think there will be a way to hide that you got a rare drop.
Yeah.
Which is I guess nice. It discourages scamming and dishonesty in general. Milestone fireworks when hitting achievements over 99, like 25 mil XP. Okay. Activated Rs will ignore deposit all in the bank. That's nice. Drag and drop mouse movement in the bank. I thought that already existed. I guess maybe it'll be smoother. Changes in coin share. What even is PVM? And a smoother world map that maybe doesn't crash everybody.
Finally!
Yes.
Oh yeah, throw me into safe mode every time I open it.
Yeah, like I swear, that world map.
It has needed an update since release.
It has killed more people than Virago.
Yeah, it actually has. Honestly,
Oh,
It has been around since the game's beginning in 2001, and it has never been updated since then.
I don't think it has. Like, yeah.
I mean, besides like expanding the map.
Well, yeah, that's not. Yeah,
Like
we're talking about like
mechanics
the
of it
way
having
that the world map opens and that it's used. Yeah. Yeah, glad that'll be fixed. Hopefully fixed. In before the goddamn minimap is still broken.
oh,
That thing.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. So unless anybody wants to mention anything else about buckets of improvements. or the
Well, I'm
D&D
sure I'll
tracker.
appreciate them all once I come to something that uses them.
Yeah, it is one of those things like, just looking at them, it's like, oh, well, this is nice. But it's something that we'll start to take for granted and we'll realize, oh wait, we eventually, or at one point we didn't actually ever have that.
yeah.
But yeah, and then last thing that we want to talk about is the Barrows brothers. Barrows Rise of the Six.
Spam.
In before spam. I don't know why Lime is spamming.
Because I love Barrows.
Lime just like to
Sure,
Really?
sure you do, Lime.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
They're
Really?
great. Yeah.
Today I learned.
That's how I made my first million.
Oh, well, today we all learned something.
Hey.
Today,
Actually, no. That's how I made my second million. I won the first million off a contest that Robo had.
Okay.
GG. The Barrows update was presumably made in Mod Chris L's lunch break, like every other update he makes. But it will involve teams of 4, and it is exploring it's apparently going to be released in a week and a half, so on the 11th of November. It is exploring the way that the Barrows brothers have been affected by Slisky's rise in power. And they'll have the Barrows brothers themselves will have a wealth of new abilities, tactics, and a truly horrifying new capacity to deal damage in before Cakeface.
Oh no! 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 Just walk in. Just really, like, get into the crypt and then immediately just one hit. Like, that's all I'm seeing. It's just like opening this stupid, like, sarcophagus or coffin, whatever. However it's gonna be structured with the
You
Super
jump
Barrows
down
brothers.
that wall for the entrance and boom, you're dead.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the brothers, it's gonna be, 3 or 4 brothers a day? I'm not sure.
It's 3 at
3 at
once.
a time.
3 at a time. And every day it
there's,
changes.
There's like this picture of Aaron just shooting fire out of his arms into these massive Zamorak style beams, and
Needs more
It's
penguins.
it just looks like you're gonna die.
It needs more penguins.
Yes.
That's all I have to say. It needs more penguins.
How about a
Barrows
one-hit kill? They can throw a penguin at you and you immediately, like, maybe you get teleported to, like, the iceberg.
What?
I don't know. Then there's a hoodie there and you're like, what happened?
What is this? I don't even.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Death was kidnapped by Slisky, so the penguins made a power grab.
there you go. the penguin said, "Dibs."
Yep.
The penguins have, in fact, seized the Barrows brothers, and we are all screwed.
We are all penguins.
That too. Oh man, that was not forced at all. Anyways, but yeah, they mentioned at Runefest, and I think it's safe to just mention this now. The items that you're going to need to get into the Super Barrows Brothers area, it's an additional item. It's not an additional item. It's an additional update. Like, it's not... They're not removing the traditional Barrows, where you kill them one at a time, and then go and open the chest through the maze. That's still being the same. They're actually incorporating that into the way that you get into the to the new area, the new fight, and that is via a token or a coin or something like that you pull from the Barrows chest, and that is tradable and should give a nice boost in rewards, I guess you can say, to the Barrows chest. And do we know if that's guaranteed or not? I don't think it is, but I'm not sure. Is that a guaranteed drop? Do we know? Did they mention?
I don't think we know.
It's probably reasonably common, but who knows? Yeah, we doubt it's a guaranteed drop, but you never know. And one of the rewards, or some of the rewards, are is level 90 melee power armor, level 90 shields for all combat types.
Those shields look amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shields do look
awesome,
and I think we'll add that in. 56 shields. And the little Barrows pets, the bobblehead dolls.
So cute!
The Anna things.
Yeah.
They're adorable.
We were asking earlier, so what has Anna been doing since she hasn't been working on quests? And we promptly came up with, she's of course been working on these pets.
I mean, she hasn't been working on the Mauritania's, the Maricube quests, and not at all on the Dale storyline, no.
Well,
pets.
Okay, Lime.
And
Lime,
apparently
Lime, you do realize that Day Out is nowhere near as important as you think it is.
Yeah,
exactly.
I realize that now.
GG. That's
now
more of that in Runefest.
Yeah, now that's said by a mod.
Yeah. By Anna, no less.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Showed up by mod Anna. Oh yeah. But yeah, those Barrows pets are pretty
I'm
adorable.
Just like, I have to get one. For all of them.
I don't think we know if they're either tradable. I highly doubt they're tradable. Pets usually
Hope they're
aren't.
not.
Or if you can get, or if you can get them without going and killing things. I don't think we know any of that yet.
Yeah,
right?
I'm thinking it's either like a chest item or it's a drop. But,
just like, I'm doing whatever it takes.
Yeah,
I just had a thought cross my mind, and that they could be summon items, but
I don't think so. I highly doubt it. Because Chris L. said specifically that they have a chance to drop them.
in before.
Okay, yeah. No.
Walter says in the chat, this is a reference to Runefest as well. One of the questions was the 4 J-mods on the panel gave 4 ridiculous suggestions that would never make it into the game, and one of them was a slavery skill, and
another one was deleting Catherby.
Walter said they're part of the new slavery skill.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, Geena may have to learn 2 PVM.
I think this is actually a message from Slow Skates, has learned to PVM right now.
Learn 2 PVM, noob. With a troll face, with a you mad bro face, a you mad bro face, you 59.
Need it.
Okay. Do you think now would be a good time to mention my likely reaction to the BTS?
Yes, go for
As
it.
drawn by Line.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, there's that picture that I drew.
Yeah, and
The rough draft of that concept art we mentioned, that art I mentioned earlier.
I have like 6 pictures I want to put into this span of like 4 minutes, and like 4 pictures I want to put in the entire rest of the podcast. Like, what even?
Bad things. Just bad things.
Anyways, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Like I've said probably 10 times now, we are going to be doing a Runefest podcast, and we lost Geena. A Runefest podcast, in the upcoming week or so. It depends on when we can get the thread and get everybody back together. But, yes,
Maybe we can
that is absolutely something to pay attention for. It's going to be probably pretty long, and that's saying something from us. But yeah, it's probably going to be pretty long. I'm going to try and make it as user-friendly as possible. Maybe splitting it up into different parts. Trying to keep everything on topic and trying to keep related things in the same thing. But we'll see exactly how that goes. I'm not sure. Just giving you a heads up. As always, give us suggestions, give us feedback, tell us how awesome we are or not. And
in our dreams.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and we will see